Welcome dear children to Standard 8 General Science. Today we will be studying Measurement and Effects of Heat, Module 2. The learning objectives for this session are to understand the concept of specific heat, to study calorimeter, to study expansion in solids, to study expansion in liquids, and to study expansion in gas. In the last class, we studied about heat, sources of heat, temperature, difference between heat and temperature, and thermometer. Today we will be going a little further and study about specific heat. Let us observe this image. We have a burner, and on the burner or on the stove we have a iron frying pan, and on the other hand you have similar type of burner but you have earthen pot. Now we all know that iron pan heats up easily, that is its temperature rises very quickly. However, it is very difficult to heat a earthen pot. This is because of the quantity which is called as specific heat. So specific heat is a substance which determines how much heat would be required to increase the temperature. So if specific heat is smaller, that means less amount of heat will be required to increase the temperature, and hence iron pan has a smaller specific heat and it is very easy to warm up. However, in earthen pot the specific heat is very large. So since it is large, it means that more amount of heat is required to warm this earthen pot, and hence it is very difficult to warm up. So the specific heat of an object is the amount of heat required to increase the temperature of unit mass of that substance through 1 degree. It is denoted by letter C, and its unit in SI is joule per kg degree Celsius, and in CGS is calorie per gram degree Celsius. So let's get back to the frying pan on the burner. Suppose the temperature before you keep the pan on the burner is Ti, and after heating up it reaches Tf. Let the amount of heat required to raise the temperature be Q, and the mass of the pan is M and specific heat is C, and the temperature change is Ti to Tf, that is initial temperature to final temperature. So the amount of heat required to increase the temperature from initial to final depends on the mass, the specific heat, and the change in temperature. So the amount of temperature that is being changed, and it is given as Q is equal to M into C into Tf minus Ti. M is the mass, C is the specific heat, and Tf minus Ti is the amount of temperature change. So here are some substances that we use in daily life, and we can see what is their specific heat given in the column below besides them. Children, we have studied that thermometer is used to measure the temperature of an object. But how do we measure heat? The device used to measure heat is called as the calorimeter. So calorimeter is used to measure the heat content of an object, and using this equipment we can measure the heat produced or absorbed in a physical or chemical process. Let us look at the structure of calorimeter. A calorimeter is shown in this figure, and it is similar to a thermoflask or a thermos that we have at our home to keep liquids hot or cold. So a calorimeter has two vessels. If you can see, there is an outer vessel and there is an inner vessel, and there this because of the two vessels or presence of two vessels, no heat can transfer from outside to inside or inside to outside, since there is very less amount of air present over here, and they are connected using heat resistant ring. So hardly any heat can pass inside or outside of a calorimeter. So it is thermally isolated. Inner vessel is thermally isolated. The inner vessel is usually made of copper. This vessel is usually made of copper. A thermometer is kept for measuring the temperature and a stirrer for stirring the liquid in the calorimeter. So these are the components of a calorimeter. Let us see how a calorimeter is used. So suppose we have this calorimeter and we are keeping a heating element in this. Okay. So there is some amount of water placed in the calorimeter. Water in the calorimeter has a fixed temperature. That means that the temperature of inner vessel and the water are the same. Temperature of inner vessel and the water are the same. So when you put an hot object just like this heating element inside water, heat is exchanged between hot object and water, and also water and the calorimeter. And all of these, you know that heat flows from hot to cold. So since if the heating element has a greater amount of temperature, the heat will, or a greater amount of heat, it will flow to the water and it will flow to the calorimeter, and all three will reach the same temperature. Now as you know that calorimeter is thermally isolated from the surrounding, so the total heat that is lost by heating element is the total heat absorbed by the calorimeter and the water that is present inside it. Similarly, if we put a cold object inside a calorimeter, so instead of this heating element we put a cold object, you know that the cold object will, the heat from the water will pass to the cold object, and all three temperatures, that is water, calorimeter, water and the cold substance, will come up to a same temperature, by which the cold substance will become little hotter and the water and calorimeter's temperature will drop or decrease. So in calorimeter we observe three things. First is the calorimeter vessel, second is the water, and third is the object that is there. So let's see what are the changes happening in all of these three components in a calorimeter. So the first thing that we have is before putting an object. So before we put in an object, the mass of the calorimeter is taken as m subscript C. C means calorimeter, and the initial temperature of the calorimeter before you put in an object is Ti, and the mass of the water is Mw. So these are the initial conditions before you put in an object. Let us look at the object. The mass of the object is Mo, the temperature is To in the calorimeter, and after putting that object, let's see what happens. After putting that object, there will be a final temperature Tf, which will be same for calorimeter, water and the object. So depending on the initial and final temperatures and the heat taken and the heat given, the total energy heat given away by the object is Q0. Since object is at higher temperature, it gives out heat, and the heat gained by the calorimeter is Qc and by the water is Qw. So since the heat given by the object is absorbed by calorimeter and water, the heat given by the object Qo will be equal to Qc plus Qw, since heat given by object is absorbed by calorimeter and water both. So let's see what is Q0, QO. Now we know that Q is equal to M into C into TF minus TI. So QO is equal to mass of the object, temperature delta T means temperature change of the object, and is multiplied with CO, that is the specific heat of the object. Similarly, let's calculate QC and QW. QW will be mass of water into temperature change of water. Temperature change of water will be, first it will be at Ti and then it will go at Tf. So temperature change will be Tf minus Ti. Now temperature change in object will be To minus Tf instead of Tf minus To, because the temperature of the object is greater than the final temperature of the object. So initial temperature of the object is greater. That is why we do it in this way, since we should not get negative sign over here. So let's continue. We get delta TW, that is change in temperature of water into specific heat of water. Let's calculate similarly for QC, that is calorimeter, mass of calorimeter, temperature change in calorimeter into specific heat of calorimeter. Now we know that QO is equal to QC plus QW. So QO equals QC plus QW, and we add them up and we get the answer. So we have learnt about specific heat and the derivation, and this is used to calculate specific heat of many substances, and its application we will study in higher standards. Let us look at the effects of heat. Effects of heat are of two kinds. First, solids or liquids or gas, any substance expands when they are heated. So this is thermal expansion of solids that is shown over here. So before heating, the particles are pretty close to each other, and after heating they move away from each other. So because of heat, substances expand. Apart from this, we can also observe change of state. So change of state, we have three states of matter: solid, liquid and gas. And change of state means you have, when you have ice, you apply heat, it changes into liquid, and when you apply heat to liquid or you put in more heat, it changes into gas. So adding heat will change, or removing of heat will change the state of substances. Let's learn about expansion of solids. Here we have one rod and it is at temperature T0. At T0 its length is L0. When you provide some heat or heat the rod up, the temperature increases by delta T. However, we observe that the length increases by delta L. Remember children, there is no other expansion, only expansion in length. And this kind of expansion, where you have expansion in length of a wire or a rod due to increase in temperature, is called as linear expansion. So when we increase the temperature of a rod of L1 from T1 to T2, its length becomes L2. Now change in length is directly proportional to original length into change in temperature. So change in length is L2 minus L1 and change in temperature is delta T. Original length is L1. This symbol over here gives us is called as the direct proportionality symbol. Okay, so if we want to remove this direct proportionality symbol and we want to introduce equal to do this we need to introduce another term which is called as the constant of proportionality. So when we remove this alpha, you get L2 minus L1 is equal to lambda into L1 into delta T. See over here, all the terms are same, but only the proportionality symbol has been gone and is replaced by equal to and lambda. So if we go ahead and we work on it, we get to know that L2 is equal to L1 bracket 1 plus lambda delta t. So we shift L1 from left hand side to right hand side and we simplify the equation. And lambda is also called as the coefficient of linear expansion of the solid substance. And this is how you can find the final length if you know L1, that is initial length, if you know the coefficient of expansion, and if you know the change in temperature. So let's learn more about this constant of proportionality, which is called as coefficient of linear expansion. Lambda, if we want to single out, we can simplify it as lambda is equal to L2 minus L1 upon L1 into delta T. Now the expansion coefficient is change in length of a rod of unit length when its temperature is increased by 1 degree. So here are few coefficient of linear expansion of few substances that we used in daily life, that is copper, aluminum, iron, alcohol, water, mercury, chloroform, and of the gas as well, hydrogen, helium, nitrogen, and sulfur. So this is coefficient of linear expansion, this is coefficient of volume expansion, and this is coefficient of expansion. Okay. Apart from linear expansion, there is another type of expansion, which is the aerial expansion. Let's look at a sheet of some metal or a solid substance, and when you heat it up, you can see that it expands in all directions. So the total area of the sheet increases. This is called as aerial expansion. So area of a sheet of solid material also increases on heating, and the formula for it is given as A2 is equal to A1 1 plus sigma delta T. Now sigma is here again a constant, proportionality constant, and it is also called as the coefficient of aerial expansion. Let us look at volumetric expansion of solid. Just like aerial expansion, volume can also increase. So a huge block, when you heat it up, it can increase in its volume. So similar to a sheet, a three-dimensional piece of a solid expands on all sides when it is heated. This is called as volumetric expansion. The formula for it is given as V2 is equal to V1 into 1 plus beta delta T. Now beta over here is the coefficient of volumetric expansion. We have studied about expansion in solids. So in solids there are three types of expansion, that is linear, aerial, and volumetric. However, liquids do not have a definite shape, so they can expand only in volume. So let's look at it. Expansion of liquids. So when we heat up a liquid, you can see that its level rises. So since liquids do not have a definite shape, but it has a definite volume, so only volumetric expansion can be defined for liquids. The formula is given as V2 is equal to V1 1 plus beta delta T. Now as we know, beta is the volumetric coefficient of expansion, delta T is the change in temperature, and V2 is the final volume, V1 is the initial volume. Let's talk about expansion of gas. A gas does not have fixed volume, so it expands on heating, but if the box is a closed box, the pressure inside the box increases. Let's observe this figure. Over here you have a chamber with a movable piston or a movable cap that we have. Okay, and we have gas in it. When we heat, the gas expands and the piston is pushed out. So using the formula of density is equal to mass upon volume, we can explain what will be the effect on gas if it is kept in closed bottle. But if the bottle is not closed, then the and it has a movable piston, clearly we saw that piston moves ahead. Therefore, the expansion of gas is measured by keeping its pressure constant. This volumetric expansion coefficient is called as the constant pressure expansion coefficient and is given by the following formula. V2 is equal to V1, 1 plus beta delta T. Beta is the coefficient of expansion at constant pressure. Since we cannot study the expansion of gas at variable pressures, because in a closed box obviously the pressure will increase, we have to study it at constant pressure. So this is how we have studied about expansion of solids, liquids and gases. Children, we are at the end of the session. Let us have a quick recall. First, we studied about specific heat. Then we studied about calorimeter and how the heat exchange takes place in calorimeter and how is the structure of a calorimeter. Then we studied about expansion in solids. We have three types of expansion in solids, that is linear, aerial and volumetric. We studied about expansion in liquids. Since liquids do not have specific shape, it can only expand in volume because it has specific volume. However, in gas, expansion of gas, it's not the same case as liquids, because gas, the pressure of the gas also changes when you heat it up. So we studied volumetric expansion of gas at constant pressure. For your homework, you are going to collect information about bimetallic strips and discuss in your class how a fire alarm is made by using it. Thank you and have a good day.